Welcome back. Welcome back to Galactic Explorers with myself, the crazy Daniella, and the lovely, as always, Miss Dallas. Welcome to the podcast where we take you on a joyride through those earthly, spiritual, or everyday topics explored with that galactic perspective with us, your friendly neighborhood channelers. Today, we're going to break out the bowl. It's actually the first week of March. Holy Jesus.
Wait, what'd you say?
It's the first week of March.
It is. Yay!
I mean, yay,
Happy
but
March.
it's like crazy.
Going so fast. Okay.
What you got?
Recarnation.
That's an interesting topic. That's huge. There's so many ways, so many angles you can come at from that one.
Yeah.
But
well, it's kind of funny too, because we're reaching spring, right? Life, rebirth. It's
renewal.
new.
Yeah.
Recarnating is starting again. Possibly. I mean, that's how I kind of see it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, reincarnation. Probably gonna get clocked on the video for your video has been flagged for copyright. God dang. I was just having fun, you guys.
So fun and fun.
Stop it. Reincarnation. and we're back.
Reincarnation. Where do we go from here?
We're going from here.
There.
Well, it's interesting. It's like I have always personally been a believer in reincarnation, and I know you probably have too in some form or another. It's interesting. It's like most people in the world do without realizing that they do. Oddly,
yeah.
Because it's like if you're Buddhist, well, of course, then you know you believe in reincarnation if you're Buddhist. But Christians, it's like they say they don't believe in reincarnation, but right? So there's fun one there. And then if you kind of think about it, it's like some Islamic faiths bring in their mystery school books, and in their mystery schools, there's reincarnation. And also, if you think about it, it's like, how's this supposed to go? Oh my God, I'm so going to clock this wrong. Where it's like Jewish Bible, Christian Bible, Islamic Bible, as far as timeline. It's almost like an epic novella.
Oh, I don't know that, but yes, that makes sense.
I thought they were like, because the Old Testament is the Jewish, is like part of that canon.
Right.
And then the New Testament is like Constantinian Christian. And then Muhammad and all the Islamic storylines come at like after that, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So, but interestingly enough, I mean, if they're all supposedly in the same canon, and then they, so it's like interesting talk about reincarnation in that sense.
It is, because I've always believed it.
Right, me too.
Growing up in a church that did not believe it, I didn't understand that.
Right.
And I even asked, I'm like, well, don't we live again? And we were born again in another life. Well, no, you're not. This is it. And it's like,
but Jesus,
what? I don't, like, I can't comprehend that. For me, it was something I was like, this makes no sense to me.
Right.
Why? I don't understand why.
Right.
Why do we have one chance?
Right. Yeah, that never made sense to me either.
That's something that's
that's so besides the point. I mean, we could totally get off on that tangent.
Right. But that's like a perspective that I had growing up
yes.
and recently of what? That's like, okay, that's what you believe.
Right. Yeah. Have at her. Yeah, I totally always believed in it too. And thought
Yeah,
it was
it's um. Where was I gonna say? It slips my mind.
sorry. Did I cut you off?
That's okay. Go for it. Just whatever. Like he'll come back. He'll come back. He'll filter in.
It'll come back. Just keep going. Yeah, I'd always thought about it as an actual how do I say it? Physical mechanism, more or less in a timeline, as most people do. But more recently, I've been exposed to an idea, and I'm kind of, thinking on it. There she is.
Oh.
Is that there technically kind of in a sense is no reincarnation, in the sense that since everything is happening now, there really is no past or future because that's a construct.
Right.
That there's no past or future. So all the alternate lives in any dimension at any given point, your soul energy, you call it, your individuation point from the all that is doing all of that now. So when you connect to it, and when you say you connect to a past life or you connect to a future self, you're not actually going anywhere in the timeline to do so. You're literally just skipping a frame in the same moment, skipping to a different frame in the same moment.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah, I've been playing around with that one. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, almost like that one's
right. That one twists your brain around a bit, right?
I know. I'm trying to like, okay, how, when, where, why? Wait, I can't ask those questions.
Right. That's that ego shit. You got to back that up.
Damn it. Yeah, I feel like.
Isn't that an interesting concept?
Yeah. You have my wheel spinning a little.
Because the whole idea is that if we're all one, and this is all one moment, and it's all happening now, like a film strip where there's a frame per, and essentially our physical and consciousness works together to make it seem like it's a smooth timeline with all the physical senses and stuff and brain translation and stuff, even though it's sitting in the dark, we see all the stuff. It's like the projector in there.
Right. It's projector. It's like a vision. You just see it.
So all of it's happening at once though. So our basically essentially the soul of all that is, which we are the individuation of, doing its thing, doing its exploratory thing. We all are running our own movies. But since we're part of the all and it's all happening now, we're not actually moving anywhere in time.
Right.
We're just going to another point that we're actually connected to way over here, up here somewhere, which there is no over here, up there, over where, but for visual sake.
Right.
Oh, the best one was like, they said, think of a sea urchin.
Sea urchin.
The spiky ball.
Right.
The inside of the ball is the all that is. Each point at the end of the thing is the individuation and all the paths and stuff that you take, yada, 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 individuation. Right. So you're not going anywhere because it's all there and it's all at the same time.
Right. Okay.
You're just transferring your conscious awareness from one point for a moment to another point and tapping into that conscious awareness that's going on over there that you are also a part of, which is why you can tap into it.
Right.
Which is why we can channel, which is why You can do mediumship, which is why you can talk to your animals, which is why you can talk to trees, which is why you can talk to everything.
Right. Definitely.
Fire, light, everything. Wind, all the elements. Witches have been talking to the elements for God ever.
Right.
Ghosts and shit ever. It's just another individuated point of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Some kind of coalesced consciousness. So it's a very interesting concept where there's actually no reincarnation involved. The reincarnation thing was basically just a metaphor to try to get us to understand the concept that we're living more than one
Right.
life.
Okay. Yes. And I definitely see that,
which is interesting.
That we had to give it a term.
Right.
Because I don't think our human brains, like even my human brain right now is like,
I know the first time I heard it, it took, and then I had to back up and have spent a lot of time sort of analyzing it and feeling it out and doing a lot of my own
right.
sort of like
Well,
introspection and investigation about it.
A part is the reincarnation is the physical aspect, right, of coming to a new body,
Right.
right, a new timeline, in a sense.
Right. But that timeline's going on at the same time over here.
Right. We're still traveling on that timeline, but then we go, oh, look, I can recreate from this over here, or I can create this over here, or I can create this here and that. But then yes, you have that source we can always go back to where we reconnect or help clear or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's very intriguing.
Right?
Hold on. I'm thinking something's brewing. Something's brewing here. Animals. Thank you. Recarnation of animals. This one I know is the same soul that I've had earlier in my lifetime.
I'm going through that right now too, funny.
I'm going, wait.
I never told you.
We've done this before, like she's been my cat before, but in another cat, but now she's here at this time. It's really crazy. So it's reincarnation in animals, it's the same thing as humans. I have a question for you of this is something I've talked to several people about, and so I have a couple ideas of time of reincarnation, of when I leave this life now, some automatically come back down, or there's a time that we are in the ethers.
Well, I've heard everybody gets a life review.
Right. Well, I mean, like, because I've had a friend, she says that like her husband, his life, like after he dies, he immediately goes to another timeline, like another body, like automatically. Like there is no like, I'm gonna take a break for a second, review, da 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 da. He's just up, down, up, like he's cycling through. Where some,
like, as in he is born, dies of something, and then is reborn as a baby again?
Yeah. Yes. Like he's automatically somewhere else.
I mean, I guess that's a way to play the game.
It's one way.
That could be a way. It's like from what my understanding through my own line of questioning and through, like you said, what other people, like what you hear from other people when you ask them, is that like 98% of the time, 95, 98% of the time, you elect to go through the life review pretty much right after.
Right. Yeah.
and see what you get out of it. So then you can go and plan your next joyride.
Right. So, I mean, that's how I kind of view it. I mean, I see what she was talking about, but then I also see I think it depends on.
Here's a question though. Does time really exist when you're in the ether? So, I mean, you could take a life review, and for us, it would seem like a second, or you could take a life review and just be chilling and it seemed like a few years, or you could take a life review and it be 100 years.
Right. Well, that's where I'm kind of like processing right now of like, okay, like, yeah, time is illusion. Time, is.
What if the life review only actually took a split second in our quote unquote time frame, and then it's literally another split second to decide where to come in along the collective timeline.
Right.
That's what he's doing, is deciding when to come back in along the collective timeline. So you could, essentially choose to come right back in and still have had a life review, because in our timeline, that would seem like a split second, but it's timeless. Up there, it could take as much or as little as it wants, because there is none of.
Right. Right, exactly. Like, time is so
malleable,
fast. And I have had, like, this is going to sound totally weird, like, because my father's passed, and I've talked to him, and I've asked, like, hey, how many lives have you lived? And he's just like, thousands. And I'm just like,
yeah,
what? But then coming from the no time frame of excuse me, the time he's passed to when I asked, but I was also aware of, okay, that's a possibility of what he, just on the other side of, wow, okay.
And then if you think about it in the sense that he's doing his individual, like if we've personally got oversouls, right? Our higher selves, our personal oversoul, could be playing more than one game at a time.
Oh yeah.
So your grandfather could, or is it your dad or your grandfather?
Dad.
Your dad. Your dad could literally mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, I've lived thousands of lives. I mean, because he's doing like thousands at a time.
Right.
From his awareness, like from his point of view. Even though it may have been a split second.
Right. It's
crazy to wrap your head around.
I know, I'm trying to, like, how do you talk about this? Because it's more of like an energetic feeling than and an already knowing than I think trying to process it and analyze
experiences where they go up and they almost start the life review, right?
Right.
And then something's like, nope, too soon.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit with Tay, didn't we? We did near death I can talk experiences.
Yes,
with Tay.
We did. Yep. It's how about
yeah, because how does that play into reincarnation?
I'm like, but then I think of walk-ins, and I don't know if we've really covered walk-ins.
We've touched on it through other topics, I think, but I don't think it's been the central topic of a podcast yet.
Because maybe that's something we can touch on, because I think that feeds into this a little bit, because I mean, we could talk hours upon hours on this.
Yeah, of where to go with it.
Right.
But yeah, walk-ins.
I'm trying to think, how do I say this? Like the near-death experience of okay, this soul has done what it can do. Now there's another soul coming into place to finish this life to hey, we came here to do this and this is what we're going to do. It's an agreement, right? And that's I could see that as a reincarnation, almost like a Jesus thing. right? Had Jesus died and then he came back to life right then and there, and then was like, all right, bye. Like, look what I can do.
You ready? I got one for you.
That wasn't being a jokeful thing, right? I was just that's the
no. It is kind of
that's the best way I can
joking,
explain
but
it.
true. But I got one for you. This literally just hit me as you were saying that, which is insane. This just hit me after all the years of trying to think about this. I've known for a while that I'm the walk-in.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an original occupant to this, but it was almost like a placeholder, or so, like they wanted to do just like a chunk, but not the rest. But
right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I couldn't really quite figure out at what point had I come in, because I have very few specific pinpoint memories from my childhood, whereas a lot of people that I know have way more and way more fleshed out memories.
Yep.
And it just hit me because I had this experience when I was like, must have been like 5 or 6 or something like that. And I had this dream that I was on this like people mover. I think I told you about this dream before, but I don't know if I mentioned it in the podcast. I was on a people mover like you have in the airport, which is like that flat escalator. It just moves you along, even if you're not walking.
The walking belt thing.
Yeah. And it was in a tunnel like that, but it was there was only the one belt, and there was pretty much only room for me. Like, it wasn't a big airport or anything. But it was a cloud tunnel, classic. So classic too.
Right.
And up there were the busts, floating busts of all, it's like my grandparents that I remembered that had passed. Some animals that I remember that had passed, some of which that I would see as ghosts on the property to that day. Like that was just like a thing. So I'm going along this escalator and it's going to the light. And I'm just going, what the fuck? Right? I'm not scared or anything, but I'm just going, what am I doing here? Like, hey, I mean, what? Right? And I get to the light and I almost like bonk into it, like hitting a glass door, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's this voice is like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be here yet, or something like, And it's almost like my feet were then anchored to the floor thing. Mm-hmm. And that thing rocketed back at like 1,000,000 miles an hour almost. Like, blah.
It's crazy.
And then I woke up. Crazy fucking thing is that I woke up and I was standing and I had smacked my face on my TV in my bedroom. The only time I've ever sleptwalked in my life. I had gotten up out of bed, walked around the bed, around the chest of drawers that was the end of the bed without hitting myself and waking myself up, and then diagonally crossed the room to smack my face dead into the middle of the TV. And that was like the plate glass that I had hit.
Right.
It was like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be here. Boom. And it was like, that's when you came in. I was like,
Gotcha.
So it's literally like a moment where the other person was heading back. Right. And I came in.
Right. Right. It's like a soul exchange.
Yeah.
Within the same soul.
Yeah, it was interesting. It seems like interesting because it's like the soul exchange had been made, but maybe I, it's like I didn't close the exit,
right.
Whatever. Something didn't, and so I stayed in there and was like heading back automatically, like autopilot. And they're like, oh, wait, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be back there, you know? Because my consciousness was already that of a kid, and I already knew I was me in my body, and I recognized the signposts of people. So I was already me.
Right. Well,
so it's very interesting.
I think it happens more than we think it do.
Yeah.
Of those incidents of reincarnation is just not actually dying fully and coming back to another life. Reincarnation is exactly that. I think a Walkin or like an animal, or it's just an exchange of energy of getting to the next step, next growth, next expansion. I think, you know, like, and everybody has a part, right? Like you probably had the part up till the 5 or 6 year old, or we're like, okay, now you're going to take over and you're going to be more aware of this, right? Because, excuse me, that's what it's about, right? We're more aware. When I switched whole, right? I totally switched and changed everything than before who I was. I'm still Dallas. I still had the same thing. The memories are not fully there. Like even my mom said something the other day when I talked to her. Don't you remember this? And I'm like, I don't remember this. Not at all. Like, and I was trying to like, nothing came to mind. And I was like, well, I didn't need that. You know, I think there's
flashes that wasn't me. I wasn't in that. My consciousness was not in that timeline with you in that consciousness.
Right. And I think there's some things that maybe we choose to hold on to help heal or to reflect back on at one point of like, oh, I need this moment back in this time so I can, when I'm ready to unravel what I need to, there's that point. Okay, now moving on. But I don't think it gets talked about, and I think it's feared upon a little bit. And
yeah, well, I think too, because it's not very well understood, because there's really no real good research that could be done on it for people, right?
Right. It's kind of
conclusive research as to what happens when you get to the other side.
Right. I understand science and stuff, but at the same time, there's that you just know, and you have the feeling, you've had the experiences, you see it, you go, there's just no way to explain it, because you can't explain it to anything. People aren't talking about it.
Right. Like I said, I think the closest thing we can come to is people that have had really, really close near-death experiences. And the ones that do get a chance to speak with people when they're on the other side and bring back those memories, or the people that do engage in their ability to do mediumship and ask the people that are currently quote unquote on the other side, what they're doing, you know, what happened. That's pretty much really the only sort of conclusive evidence that for the most part we can cobble together scientifically. And if any of the viewers out there know of any scientific inquiries or things that have been done towards reincarnation or past life experiences and being able to actually record and quantify that stuff, we'd always love to dig into that and drop it below for us so that we can find it. But for most people, that's, even if that exists, it's definitely not made mainstream knowledge. And so there is that whole huge level of misunderstanding about it. So therefore it's like, taboo and doesn't get talked about.
Right.
Doesn't become normal.
Definitely. There is a show on Netflix called Surviving Death.
I've heard of it.
I'll have to give you the link, or I've got to find the link, because they do some science research. It's been a month since I've watched it, but maybe I'll find that and maybe you can plug that in too, so others can look at it and just decide for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. You just you got to plug into it and see what resonates with you, and
a lot of interesting ideas out there about how it all works.
Yep. because I don't think we're truly fully will ever grasp it, because that's not what we're really supposed to like fixate on something like that. It's something that does happen, and it's okay to like, okay, I've had this experience, I'm going to give it a name, and you move on. But if you fixate on it, and, oh, but all the hows, when, why, that's not what we're really supposed to focus always on. It's there, it happens, we can talk about it this way, but we got to just keep going with life.
Agree totally, absolutely. Well said, well put. Gosh dang, end the episode. We're done there, you guys. That was it. Perfect. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us as always. This has been Dallas and Daniella. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are on all the platforms: Anchor, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify,
all of them,
all stuff. So share if you have any topics that you would like for us to explore. We love you guys. We'll see you next time. Fade to black.